Hello.
And Cam.
Please.
Hey.
Okay, so this is us.
You didn't say hello.
I did say hello. Anyway, so we are working on Project Luna. Raven, what is Project Luna?
I have to. Am I reading it from this or?
Just explain it.
All right. So Project Luna. Project Luna is inspired by the sort of soon-to-be defunct. I hope they don't bring back. But yeah, I mean I do, but like yes. Anyway, it's inspired by Fable Legends with the asymmetrical multiplayer elements where you have a faction on one side that is playing sort of an RTS game, trying to screw over the day of your fantastic heroes, which is like more of a team RPG MOBA thing. Yeah, I think it's close enough a description, right?
Yeah, a RPG MOBA thing. Yep, it's probably somewhere in a description.
There's loads and loads of notes I have. I can't use any of them because I can't mention too much without going into it too much. And there's lots and lots of don'ts on this thing that you gave us.
I gave you like 3, 4 at the most.
They were 6 or 7.
There's only 2 things on to discuss. None of them are the game.
No, so the style of the game. There you go. You can discuss that, Mr. Artist.
Ooh, one of the
Are
artists.
you talking to me here?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Take it.
I wasn't sure which one's the artist. The overall visual style is, generally speaking, Disney-esque, like sort of cartoonish. Sort of along the same lines as Zootopia or Kung Fu Panda. So it's like, sort of, I don't know, how would you describe it?
I'm not saying that word. You cannot make me say that word.
What word?
No. No.
Okay.
I don't know which word you're talking about.
It's too many syllables. Not saying it.
Oh, for goodness. Right.
And
No, I'm not saying it either. You're the one that put it down.
anthropomorphic.
There we go.
There you go. He's the only
Yeah.
one who can say it.
Talk about that since you're the only one that can say it, Cam.
It's sort of set in an anthropomorphic Iron Age mythological Europe. So we're using sort of animals, but they've been made humanized. So yeah, like Zootopia, it's in a world where humans don't exist. I'm not sure.
Do they? Dun,
Or
dun,
do they?
dun.
Yeah, so it is, quite heavily like Disney, where they have a lot of the times it's animals made human
Yeah.
in one way or another.
And they all have like human style features to distinguish them, rather than just being literally animals on their back legs. That they'll be like wearing clothes, they'll have hats and stuff.
They will have all the hats.
Hats. What more do you want me to say? I don't want to go into the do nots bit.
Exactly.
That's fine. Oh, for goodness sake, right. Each heroes are going to have abilities that they can use during the quests, etc. See?
So can we talk about the quests?
Yeah?
All right.
Okay.
So the approach we're taking, the approach we're hoping to take with the quests is something very similar to like the dungeon runs or the raids kind of endgame stuff that you'd find in an MMO, where you're going through 3 to 4 sort of arena areas where progressively as you're going through it, you're going to come across new mechanics, new things that you and your team have to adapt to. and as you're adapting to them, so to who you're against. The what can I call them? Powers. There we
Yeah.
go. The powers that be are like have their sort of little armies that they're throwing against you. And this all escalates in terms of like the abilities that you have available to you. Can we talk about the leveling system at all?
Yeah.
Alright. So the leveling system we've been discussing.
I think people realise who's the puppet master here.
Yeah.
So the leveling system that we've been discussing is sort of like twofold. So you've got the one where sort of like the heroes or factions that you're grouped with will level up sort of like in the background via like the gear that you attach to them and you buy or craft and stuff. In game, however, like as you're going through the levels, we're having a sort of a very Heroes of the Storm-esque system where you'll have an ability that does sort of like a very generic thing, and you get sort of like branching paths as you progress through, and you sort of like ding to that next level to get more powerful, and then you can choose sort of like which specialization you want that skill to have. It hopefully will allow people to be very adaptive to what's being thrown at them and create some kind of interesting sort of gameplay moments.
Well, yeah, that's why we want people to, even though each character will have its own sort of set of abilities, we want people to, it will enforce people to work more as a team.
Yeah.
You know, be a bit more strategic. So, you know, X's ability might work really well with Y's, or Y is trying to do one, X can do this to give them time to do that one, etc.
Synergy is definitely a major focus. We're taking at the moment to sort of like what abilities each of our heroes have.
So the powers. Let's discuss the powers.
Are we allowed to actually discuss the powers, or
The general idea of the gameplay, you donut.
well, the powers control factioned armies. So for those familiar with Fable Legends, you know how you have creatures that you can choose from. So you had like the sort of like different factions of the creatures, like you had the red caps, you had the I want to say nymphs, fairies.
Yeah.
You had the tree barks, and essentially what we're doing was we're taking the idea of each of those like little groups of them, and instead of having like all of them available, we're sort of fleshing them out to have like 6 or 7 different kinds of units that you can sort of like mix and match together, while having like an additional like mercenary force that you can just sort of like add irregardless of the faction you're with. So you'll be building up an individual army, and you'll make it your own as you're building it up with these powers that be, which we can't discuss because they're pretty much late today.
You can almost feel my eyes staring at you.
I can't see them, but I can feel them.
Exactly. No, so so we were thinking sort of, was it sort of like an RTS sort of styling for the powers?
Yeah. I think games like Dawn of War 2 and sort of Halo Wars have come up in terms of like the having it a very tactical and very easy, sort of like quick, I'm going to throw this over here kind of situation where you can micro and macro units a bit.
Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the points of people complain a lot in Fable Legends is the controls in the villain gameplay. They are not very responsive. So one of the points in Project Luna we told time ago was making them feel more RTS, more strategic game than in Fable Legends, which you can give them orders, but at the end of the day, they do what they wanted, what the uh, I don't know what how to say that. Sorry,
No, I
the
know. Yeah, so
the
exactly.
computer those actions they are programmed, but in a strategic game you can control them better. You have more actions you can do. That's one of the points that a lot of people complain it in Fable Legends, and I think it's very important to make it feel better to play the villain, the bad part, that you really can control this army.
Yeah, that is definitely something that we want to do. We want it so the AI actually listens to the powers.
Yeah.
It's always very handy, and it is one of those frustrating things. I know I used to get frustrated at it. We want it so if you say faction A do that move, it will do that move, not this move, or go off down the pub.
Well,
Some of them appear to.
It depends if you're on something we'll reveal later. But if they don't do what you're telling them to do, it'll be for mechanics reasons, and it'll be very well explained in the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've got a lot of sort of, I would say, interesting features that we are going to add just to sort of just add a different layer to playing as one of the powers, which I'm hoping people will like.
Hopefully.
If
That
not,
will have forums full of rage. Hate you.
yes,
That's something to always look forward to.
To be fair, it's one of those things that I think, you're always going to get some people, but I think I think Project Luna will appeal to a lot of people who, for example, are Fable fans. It's definitely got inspiration from the Fable series.
Yeah.
And the whole lore we will be exploring. So it won't be completely just like, oh, it's set in this time, but it doesn't feel like it's set in that time. We're trying to stay as true to it as you can without going a bit OTT. I suppose is the best way of putting it.
Yeah, we're looking into and taking a lot of inspiration from the lore of the region that we're setting, like the characters in at the moment. And so, like, the first area that we're looking to do is like the ancient, the mythological medieval Europe, specifically like Britain to begin with. 'Cause, the fable heritage, so to speak, sort of leads through. We want to sort of explore very similar ideas to them, at least initially. And so we're taking an awful lot of influence from Celtic legends and Brythonic legends and all of these sort of like really cool English things that people may or may not be particularly well known, like well versed on. And I think it's going to be really cool to explore a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all of this, and as I said, we are trying to stay as close as we can, but obviously a little bit of artistic license, but without making it ridiculous, because there will be some people that have no idea about these laws, the law and things like that, but there are always going to be people that know. And I know when I'm playing a game and it's set around something, if they get something ridiculously wrong, it sort of takes you out of that immersion that you're having with the game.
You mean like making Shiva a woman? I love Final Fantasy, but that's so wrong.
Yeah, so things like that are very off-putting, and so we don't want to do that. We don't want you to be playing the game and enjoying it, hopefully, and then suddenly we throw something at you that you're like, hold on a sec, that's got nothing to do with this. It's, completely just out of nowhere. Because that's what we don't like in games, so we're assuming other people don't either.
Alright.
So,
Your little list.
Hmm?
What's next on your list?
shush. Right, so we will be releasing and talking more information over the coming weeks to do with Project Luna. Obviously, as you can tell by all the boys going, can we say this? Can we say that? There are things planned. So I'm not just really evil and stopping them from saying anything. We've got things planned coming over the next few months, which will mainly be showing on our social media. So on Facebook, we're at Liandri StudioRaven, and we're at StudioRaven feed. If you keep track of us on our social media, it will soon become clear why we have stopped, or I've stopped them at certain points, because we don't want to sort of spoil what we already have planned.
I was sharing some lovely concepts on the forums.
I know. So, now one thing that I'd like to talk about next is Patreon. We are on that. How would you describe Patreon, Raven?
Patreon is a patronage site. It's like a crowdsourced crowdfunding source for having a regular income. Something we kind of lack right now.
Yes. Unfortunately, none of us have won the lottery. Keep on buying my ticket, but it's not happening. So, at the moment...
Oh, that's where I'm going wrong. I'm not buying a ticket.
Well, yeah, you do need you do need a ticket to actually, have a chance. It doesn't just magically appear. So, basically, we have set up a Patreon page, which is patreon.com/StudioRaven. There you can pledge a certain amount every month, which will go towards the project. Now, we will be setting up over the coming weeks goals, but also rewards. So every patron, you will get rewards, be it we merchandise, in-game content, etc., and any in-game content that we do for patrons we will never release for general public.
Exclusive content, and it won't be sort of pay to win. It'll just be silly things like hats and pets and stuff. So.
Yeah, things that are nice to have and add uniqueness. So when you're playing, someone will be like, "Oh, how did you get that?" And you'll be like, "Well, you can't get it." And I like that smug feeling. So we are asking for people to, pledge as little or as much as you want. If you happen to be a millionaire, feel free to add a few more zeros on the ends, We won't complain.
we are at the moment. Everyone's doing this basically in our free time because we just can't afford not to. Hopefully, with Patreon, we can get to a point where we have enough so that we can sort of put a bit more time into the project. A lot more time into the project, and sort of like have more people full time, which would be nice. There's also lots of software that's usually outside of the realms of what we can generally afford, because everything is going to subscription nowadays. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is. The money is directly for the development of the game. It's not so Raven can go out and buy a new hat.
I do need a new hat.
You're not getting. You can use your own money.
Hats and full.
No. Oh God, I wish I'd never mentioned a hat. Now you're like, oh, I want a hat.
See, it's all about hats. Valve got it right. It's all about hats.
My
Is it my
goodness.
fedora?
See, this
Can't
is
do
what
that.
I'm working with. So I think that definitely warrants you pledging some money just so I can shut them up with some new software.
Or hats.
Yeah, I've been so silent the last nearly 3 weeks since you got me the tablet. So
Exactly. If I get him things, I don't hear as much moaning. It's amazing.
and there's lovely artwork and stuff that comes out of it.
Yes. And so, speaking of artwork, obviously we don't expect people just to jump on board with us without seeing a bit more. So, what I would like to reveal to you is from the 18th to the 23rd of April, we will be doing Heroes Week. So we have a lineup of 6 original heroes. So our original 6. So across those days, one a day, I will be releasing one of our heroes across Facebook and Twitter. So that will consist of obviously the concept, artwork, and also a description of each hero. So you have a bit more of an idea of where we're going with them. You know, what our idea is and who they are. Which I'm looking forward to.
They all have very unique and colourful personalities.
That's definitely something I would say. Yeah, they're not your bog standards, out the factory sort of characters. Yes, they do definitely all have. So that is something that make sure that you are following us on Twitter and you've liked our Facebook page. So then you will be able to see what we've been up to, basically. Well, I say we. I mean the boys, really. But and then what we are planning is in 2 weeks' time. So after Heroes Week, so on the 24th, which is the Sunday, we will be doing another stream where we will discuss the characters in more depth. So everyone gets to see them, the brief description of them, and then we will discuss them. And, the reception, what people have said, etc.
So we're hoping to do these livecast devlog things. Still not quite sure what we're supposed to be calling them.
I don't know, we keep on calling them like several different things, if I'm honest. We're going to be on the internet. There we go, we'll put it that.
Yeah. We'll be doing them every 2 weeks. That's the general pipeline that we're hoping for updates, especially when we start getting into the builds, which the patrons will be the first to have access, so they'll get early access to sort of playing the betas and alphas of that, depending on the levels they commit. And yeah, so we'll be doing fortnightly updates initially.
Yeah, that's what we have planned for the next few months. Obviously, then depending, we may make the gaps between the live streams either bigger, shorter, whatever, obviously depending on what we're doing. So if there's...
And any of us have had nervous breakdowns from the workload.
Basically, as long as Raven doesn't have a breakdown, because that's what he's implying, then we will carry on. To be fair, even if he does have a breakdown, that's fine. He'll just be a mumbling wreck in the background. He'll be fine.
I feel like the Rain Man. Put something in his hand. He'll be alright.
Okay, so we hope this is explained to some who were not quite sure what we were doing. Hopefully answered some questions, maybe created some more questions for everyone. Obviously feel free to tweet us or to message us at Facebook, and if I can reveal information then I will. But yeah, and we will see you again on the 24th. Okay, thank you for listening.
Sorry, have you mentioned what the Facebook and the Twitter actually is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you again. Wow.
Me not
Wow,
paying
Cameron.
attention.
Right. Can I try that again now?
I
Yeah,
think
sorry.
Sort of some maybe FAQs. Like you could also check to see if there's anyone actually watching at the moment, if they've got questions in the chat, because YouTube has a chat.
I don't think they do.
What do you mean you don't think they do? Okay.
Well, I've just looked on the thing. There isn't any.
There's no one there.
No.
Uh-oh.
You sounded so sad.
I was expecting at least one person.
There is.
Game's
Cam.
alive!
Right. Okay.
Told you should have used UTC. No one knows.
Shush. Right. Anything else?
Well, no. I was just thinking of like some FAQ style questions, like why have you only got 6 heroes? You know, that kind of thing.
Well,
I
one
haven't
person
looked
is
at it.
talking right now in the Facebook and YouTube comments.
What?
I can put some comments in there if you want.
No, that doesn't count. Okay, Raven. What FAQ questions would you like to answer?
I don't know. I'm just thinking like I feel like we've been glossing over. I mean, it's been quite a quick bam 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 of like, okay, this is the very basic concept that we have. This is the very basic sort of everything else. I don't know. It just feels like we should probably have a little more discussion about like the game concept, the ideas, and like why people should be more enthused about the hero. I don't know. I was up for 36 hours. I don't know. Just that.
Okay. Right. Well, that's the thing. I don't mind talking about stuff, but you don't know what you want to talk about, do you?
No.
No. Okay, well, going on the thing that you said about heroes. Now, there we go. Why are we only starting with 6 heroes?
Okay, so we're starting with 6 heroes because I don't want to have an aneurysm as we're going through developing more heroes. But B, because the approach that we're taking with the heroes, where they're not specifically one class or one role. They're not like this set thing where you can only do this one sort of task with them. Instead, like through the abilities that you sort of like pick and choose, and then how you level them up through the map, most of the heroes can be like two or three different roles out of like the 4 main sort of class roles that the heroes can be. Like they can be like a tank, an offensive DPS, a defensive support, or like a support healer, like magic and suppression. Legends took years to become playable. Will it be the same here?
And that's from Breezer.
Okay. No. We're looking at getting the game up and running, sort of like to a playable state within the next 3-4 months. So around what? June, July? That's about 3 months away, right? I can't look at the
July or so.
About July.
Yeah. And so like we're aiming to. The reason for sticking down to like so few heroes, and we're also doing the same with like the army factions. We're only having 3 of those. Is we want to sort of like have be able to get this out within like the year, and have it sort of like on store shelves. There'll be digital shelves, but like out on store shelves. You know?
Yeah, and we do have plans for after it's initially out, we will be adding. So it won't just be like wham bam, there you go.
Yeah.
Off you pop.
Yeah. We're still sort of discussing between whether we're going to have a free to play or a more traditional business model at the moment. I think that's probably going to be a question people are going to ask. We're leaning towards I think we were leaning towards a free to play though. Okay.
Yeah, we were definitely more leaning towards that, with the idea of it not being pay to win. It's more cosmetic that would lead to you paying for stuff. So you wouldn't pay for gear or whatever. That's, you know, you would get that elsewhere. You could, but you would pay for customization.
I
some
think
things.
If I remember right, part of the chat we were having, well, this was a couple of weeks back, and my memory's crap. It's written down somewhere, but I think part of the chat we were having was like, if we went free to play, perhaps having it so that instead of purchasing heroes and factions outright, instead, like you purchased the slots available. So it's sort of like with this semi-reoccurring costs, say like every 2-3 months, or like you could completely buy it with all the in-game stuff, but you happen to have like no life, just played all the time.
No, I mean, it's definitely something we will be especially asking our patrons.
Yeah.
So the people that are supporting, because we want to have as much input from the patrons as we can. You know, because essentially because they are helping fund this game, so it is their game as well.
I guess one of the things about it being crowdfunded is that it can help us gauge how excited people are going to be for certain things. So if we say like, hey, we've got these 6 characters, do you think we should do more, or do you think we should expand on these guys? So we can get a little bit of feedback as well.
Yeah.
Which would then help us out throughout development.
Yeah, definitely. Breezer.
And change stats. Yes. The equipment will change stats, but it's less like Fable Legends, where like you've got this relatively meaningless number that adds to another meaningless number, and you have no idea what it's going to do, but you might get bigger numbers at the end of it. Instead, we're looking at a system where you get a marginal upgrade. So like the rarity of the item will go from like sort of say 5% extra to something like the common level, and then like up to like maybe 25% at like the legendary level. And so the overall awesomeness of your character from like the basic to the legendary is only going to be a small amount. It's not going to be anything where it's like absolutely, oh my god, I must have this in order to be competitive. Much more of the combat and and sort of awesomeness of the characters themselves will come from the abilities, the tactics that you're choosing, and the teamwork that you're sort of like getting into with the other heroes, or like as the villain sort of power for them to basically screw up like one person and just destroy their entire group kind of situation.
Yeah, so you're all cogs on a wheel.
Yeah.
With the gear and the equipment was one of the problems in Fable Legends, in my opinion, because even changing all of your gear and all of your abilities did not really affect how your character was. There was each hero in Fable Legends was playing like one thing, and you can really change that. You can give him more critical and things like that, but you can really change a hero how it plays in Fable Legends.
Yeah, it wasn't, it was definitely something that was a pain. Like, we want it so when you do get a new piece of equipment, obviously it's not going to be suddenly massive game changer, I'm going to annihilate everything, but it's so you can notice that you have a different piece of equipment.
It's cool to see that you have a gear, after rarity gear, and it matters. Even if it isn't game changing, it's cool to see it changes something. It gives you more damage or a different ability, and it is rewarding. In Fable Legends, isn't rewarding at all outside of maybe an aesthetical point.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing with the equipment that we've been discussing has been that it's probably going to end up being that it's going to give you that edge, so you're going to feel like there's a difference every time you equip something else, but at the same time, like, you're going to have sort of equipment that is better suited for like a particular role that you want to take. So like, if you want to be like this at a distance kind of archer or something like that, then you would sort of like equip sort of like the equipment that gives you like all of this speed and sort of movement bonuses over like health bonuses and stuff like that. So like all of the outfits will be sort of focused around sort of like a specific build that you would make for your character, but at the same time, like that, it's because of how because of the crafting system that we've been sort of sort of like brainstorming. It's not going to be a case of like you're going to see a piece of equipment and go, oh man, that's a really cool outfit, but I can't use it because I want to be like a tank, Yeah. So they'll end up being probably different sort of like colors, slightly different like slightly different tweaks to the visual style of it, but you'll be able to craft like any of the outfits that you find appealing into like that kick-ass piece of equipment that you want for the role and abilities that you want to use.
Yeah, it's definitely, we're going
That's
for
really cool.
freedom. We want people to have the freedom to choose how they make their character, basically, because everyone likes to have their own little tweaks here and there, or have it a certain style. So it won't be a case of, oh, I like to play as character X. Oh, I play as character X as well, and it's exactly the same. That's not what we're going for. We're going for, well, I play as character X like this way. Oh, I play character X like that way, and this is what happens. It'll definitely open up discussions between the players of what they personally think is the best way to use said characters.
Nothing but speed tanking tanks.
No. No, it's gonna be different, but not so different to other things out there that people don't know what's going on.
There are definitely games that we're sort of we're paying attention to, and we're taking influence from. Like Fable Legends itself, obviously, we're taking heavy influence from. But I've also been looking at things like Final Fantasy XIV, which has amazing like dungeon gameplay. It has amazing teamwork, and I've been trying to get everyone else into that, to be like, look, this is how really cool things happen. But no one has a PC that's capable of running it. And there's other games like Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch. There's quite a few games that there are really, really good ideas in all of them, and seeing ways that we can take those ideas and adapt them into sort of like the game that we're playing, but adapt them, like only taking them and using them and adapting them if they make sense. I don't want a situation like Fable Legends had during its development, where it was obvious that they were taking gameplay elements from other games that were quite popular, but at the same time, like, they weren't taking the ones that made sense for Fable Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to end up with a sort of Frankenstein creation where we've gone, well, that worked really well with there, let's throw that in, that worked great with that one. We're seeing what makes sense, but also looking at the feedback from the different games communities and things to see what people are enjoying and not enjoying. Because that's what community is what we want. So just like with Lionhead, may they rest in peace.
They're not dead.
Well, they're very close, unfortunately. But
they're digging the grave. Well, they soon will be.
Hey, it's not my decision. All right. So we do want a nice community. So we will be with our website. We will be putting forums, etc., things like that to make it. Sorry.
They'll also probably end up quite heavily moderated for language and stuff. Because one of the other things we're looking to do is sort of open up the game to a very wide audience. We want it. Part of the reason for the Disney aesthetic and sort of like going down that very sort of approachable, cutesy thing, even if like some of the storylines we have are a bit darker, which Disney can get away with. I'm trying to figure out how they do that so we can have some really, really cool dark storylines without it being everyone being like, oh my god. So
I think you need to have something shiny in the corner to distract the really young people.
Well, I mean, it's like Zootopia is about like the 1980s drug war, and it's about racism and all sorts of like really, really serious topics, but it's a really good film. It's not one that you'd say, oh no, I don't want my kids watching that, because it's how it's presented. And I really like the idea of having both like a young at heart sort of audience, sort of like the wrong side of 30 like myself, or right down to like children, like the preteens who really like Disney, and so we want that whole spectrum of gamers.
Yeah, we want it so if if there's a parent and they want to play it, they can play it whenever. They don't have to wait till the kid's in bed or do it in a different room, because it's something that they can then encourage their child to play with them, to give it a go.
And they can learn brand new words from online.
That's why people unplug the headset.
prologue like that. About the rating of the game, the maturity of it, this looks that in comic books, for example, you have a teen rating most of the time, but and kids like that. Kids love American comics, but some of them, when you read them with another point of view, you see that those comic books have really mature stories, which are very very complicated, and that's the point. In for example, this that you have uh, a look and a style and a story that looks like it for kids. Grown-ups can enjoy it too.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going for. So it's not so much, it's almost in a way a hidden storyline. That's the best way I can sort of put it with a lot of, say, Disney or comics, things like that. So it's the sort of face value that younger people will see, but then older people will see the depth.
Yeah.
I say it's like all those little references that will just go straight over a child's head, and then the adults would be sat there pissing themselves laughing.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I don't know.
No, I think we've.
Oh, okay. There was another question from user.
Okay.
He asks for the platform it will be released, if it's Xbox One or PC.
Okay. Alright, so right now we're working on a Windows 10 DirectX 12 version of the game. We are looking to become a registered Xbox One developer over the next month or so. So hopefully we'll be able to release it on those two platforms. We may also be looking into a companion style app, or maybe a tablet sort of like variant for like people who want to play the powers on the go. So you'll be able to just grab your Surface tablet and just be like, aha, I can own some fools on the train. We're probably going to be looking into something like that as well.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't-
that's
I
where
didn't
we're
slip up.
going. So that's where we're going with that. I think we've covered most things that we can at the moment. Anything else anyone else thinks we should mention?
I think we've been going for like 50 minutes now, so that's a good time.
Yeah.
Just chill a bit more. Chill out the Facebook, the Patreon, and I don't know, Heroes Week.
Yep.
That's-
So mate, if you want to become a patron, it's patreon.com/StudioRaven. We really do hope, anything that you can give is very helpful indeed. You can like our page at facebook.com/Liandri StudioRaven and follow us on Twitter at StudioRaven feed. Don't forget, coming up from the 18th to the 23rd of April is Hero Reveal Week, which will be across the social media platforms. I hope you will enjoy what we will be revealing, and we'll be back on the 24th where we will discuss more about the heroes.
And more.
And plus other things. Okay, well, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or anything that you feel free to tweet us, message us on Facebook. I will respond. Right.
And she'll let us know what happened, because we can't figure out how to use those things.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
Mike.
Right. Right. Thanks again. Goodbye. Now say goodbye, boys.
Bye bye.
Boys.
Bye.
Right. Thanks.